Greetings, this is Faolan, and welcome to my top 5 games of 2018. I missed out on it last year, I didn't play enough games, but thankfully this year the WoW expansion has been pretty shit, so I've had plenty of time to play other games. So let's get right into it. Starting us off in 5th place, we have Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. Taking place parallel to the first Digimon Cyber Sleuth game, Hacker's Memory is ultimately more of the same, a glorious combination of Digimon meets Persona Light. It took them many years, but I'm happy we finally have some great Digimon games. Bonus points for not having motion controls and not taking inspiration from a soulless mobile game. It does lose some points from the original because you actually can't play as a female character in this one. You're locked to the male. So that kind of sucks. I played as a female in the first game. But she does show up in this one. If you send your save data over. I fucking love this music. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's just this dark, cyber, just creepy. Oh, I love it so much. I think it's perfect for a Digimon. You got your little sister character there if you're into that kind of thing. In 4th place, a new challenger approaches, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Nintendo thankfully seem to have learned their lesson from the past Smash game, because this is the definitive version of Smash. The ultimate version, you could say. I'm sure everyone's made that joke. Every character from every Smash game makes their return, plus a whole heap of new ones. There is a bunch of content here, from classic mode to tournaments to normal brawls with custom rules. Online, of course, amiibo training makes its return. And best of all, my personal favourite, and probably the bulk of my gameplay, the single player content, and there is a lot of it. A huge map filled with unlockables where you start off as Kirby, one of my personal favourite characters, and make your way around fighting enemies and bosses in somewhat of a light rock paper scissors system, unlocking their loadouts and powers and other characters as you go, as well as things like outfits for the amiibo fighters, or the Mii fighters I should say. The loadout system allows for a lot of varied playstyles. Early on, for example, I relied on a passive that boosted my damage at low health, which when mixed with Lucario, which was my main in the Wii version, Lucario has an inbuilt system that does the same thing. This seems to stack, meaning when I get my ass kicked, because I'm terrible in this game, I can dish out a lot of damage and claim victory from the grip of defeat. There is a lot to love here. They finally seem to have listened to all the criticisms that the last Smash game received and came back with a vengeance. This is the best version of Smash. You guys with the GameCube controllers can move away from that version now. This is the goddamn best. If you are a Switch owner, you need this in your library. And copyright strike. Let's be honest, as soon as I said the word Nintendo, I received a copyright strike. This has to be the biggest roster of characters in any fighting game, with the possible exception of the Budokai Dragon Ball series. And the early entries at that. This music is amazing, by the way. The game is so fucking pretty. I love Duck Hunt. So glad that they added Ripley. I came out of nowhere. It was amazing. So did these. In Castlevania characters. Ruffalus! Man, I wish they had the Hunter from the Monster Hunter series in this game. That would be amazing. Fingers crossed for the future DLC. Huh? Pikachu! My original main. Amazing game. In third place, we have Spyro, the Reignited Trilogy. Typically, it's a rule of mine that I don't allow HD remakes in my top 5, unless there is a considerable amount of change in a newer version. The idea being that it's best to save praise for actual new games. But Spyro holds a special place in my heart, as it was one of the very first games I ever played and owned. The Reignited Trilogy is without a doubt better in every way to the original versions, the biggest standout for me being the camera and controls. A large part of the challenge in the originals was due to needing to wrestle with the controls and deal with the god-awful camera, which, admittedly, was par for the course with games back then. Here, however, there is no issue whatsoever, and the game is silky smooth, as are the visuals, which are completely fucking gorgeous and a pleasure to experience. Another major update are the character designs themselves. Gone are the floppy puppet faces, and whilst originally when rescuing a dragon, they'd mostly just pop up for a second and say thank you for releasing me, before sodding off, here each dragon is wonderfully designed and for the most part has something to say. They are all absolutely dripping with personality, making releasing one far more rewarding and a reward in and of itself just to see them. The game was a delightful trip down nostalgia lane for me, and I just had to give it a spot. This is my history, this is my childhood, and quite frankly, if you played the games back then, you really need to give it another shot because it's better than you remember it being. And if you have kids, this is a perfect game for them. Flame On. That was a really bad freaking reference humor thing. Whatever.
Looks like I've got some things to do.
I'm putting this on here mainly for the first game, but the other two are very good enough themselves. Less so the third entry, but it's still good. Look how much better it looks. I assure you, no matter how much better it looks, it controls like 5 times that amount. Like, it controls better 5 times that amount, if you get my meaning. They kind of should have encountered the, included the music from the actual Spyro games in here. Like the more recognizable jingle ones. I don't know. The game is just dripping with charm, though.
Who are you again? Spyro.
There we go. You can see they're showcasing the dragons. They're brilliant.
I'm getting a little winded.
Ah, right in the childhood. Coming is no surprise to the true believers out there. In second place, we have Marvel's Spider-Man, and holy shit, is this the best goddamn superhero game ever made? I was legit surprised by how good this one ended up being. Let's put it this way, if it weren't for the #1 on this list being what it is, this would have probably got first place. The swinging is amazing. Let's just get the one bit everyone praises out the way right away. Web slinging in this game is fantastic. It feels so natural and intuitive. The combat is the typical Batman Arkham system that everything uses these days, but I feel as if it suits Spider-Man a lot more with his zippy nature. There's a lot more they can do with it. Plus, when mixed with the gadget system, it adds a lot of varied play. There's a lot of ways you can handle each and every encounter. The story is honestly engaging for a change for a game like this, and is one of those, and one of the villains ends up being really freaking likable as a character at the start before he, transforms into the villain. And I think he's the best version of that specific character we've ever seen, as is Spidey himself. They nail pretty much every aspect of his character in this game. Typically things just focus on one or two aspects, like they make him a tech head or they make him a smart mouth, but here they get everything. They show his intelligence, his caring nature, his tendency to blame himself for fucking everything, his awkwardness, his nerdiness, and that oh so lovable smart mouth. And honestly, so much more. He's one of the best versions of Spider-Man we've seen in a long time, which honestly makes me want to see the movies he's based on. I've heard those things were bad. What happened? And let's just talk about the suits. The suits are awesome. But in prior Spider-Man games, we had unlockable suits. It's been a thing in a lot of Spider-Man games. But here, they come with buffs and abilities. Now these can be mixed and match, meaning you can unlock your favorite suit. Like you can see the one in the background here. I love the Punk Spider-Man outfit. I think it's badass. You can unlock your favorite suit and you can put your favorite ability with it. For me, Spider Bro. Really goddamn useful. They're both from different suits, and yeah, the mix and match element is really, really nice. So you're not locked into one if you if you want a specific ability. You can wear whatever the hell you want as long as you have it unlocked. So yeah, I do have some gripes with the game, however. The Miles and Mary Jane sections can drag out a bit, and honestly, I ended up hating Mary Jane in this game. You're so protective. You won't let me sneak into an armed military/violent thug base. I'm not a child, God. It's basically her argument. She's a fucking idiot. But the Mary Jane and Miles sections do improve later on in the game, and one of the Miles sections actually, for the first time in history, makes Rhino seem intimidating. Snowball, however, or Screwball, not Snowball, she's a new character, I've never heard of her before. Screwball, however, I despise with every fiber of my being. She is ungodly levels of annoying, as are her challenges. I honestly stopped playing the second DLC because of her. I just don't want to deal with her or her stupid, boring, annoying minigames. But gripes aside, this is the best Spider-Man game to date, and arguably the best superhero game to date. Even if I do have a soft spot for the PlayStation 1 game from way back when.
Surf the web, surf the web.
Shut up, Brock. We don't have time.
That default suit, by the way, is hideous. The white highlights just look bad. Thankfully, you can change it to the classic suit like a few minutes into the game.
Apparently the show's not over. Is there anyone left in New York who doesn't want me dead?
I originally thought the Robo Rhino suit was dumb, but it works. This game convinced me.
Next time you get in my way, I will not be so gentle. Girl problems again.
Can I just point out as well how just amazingly edited this trailer is? It's actually one of the best in that regard. The music works so well with the clips. It's not too often that a game of the year is set in stone by the first month of the year, as has been the case with my game of the year, Monster Hunter World. I have had dreams of a Monster Hunter game like this. Vivid, incredible dreams. And I'm honestly not even being hyperbolic. I'm being serious. And to see a dream game become reality is something very few gamers receive. Monster Hunter World feels like it was made just for me. It is the first Monster Hunter game that not only looks good, but amazing. It's the first Monster Hunter game to have a good character creator. The zones are a joy to behold and explore, and are filled with these cute little endemic life critters that you can capture and collect in a completely unnecessary but all the more brilliant side activity. That's what my character background here is from, by the way, getting all of them. I never saw anyone else with it. I'm quite proud of that. The monsters look incredible and are a joy just to watch as they move in animalistic and believable ways. The controls are smoother than ever, as is the UI, and holy crap, does this game contain so many teeny, tiny little quality of life improvements that only a long-time fan would notice. Armor skills have been changed in such a way that simplifies them and makes them easier to manage, while at the same time allowing for so much depth. Previously, mixed armor builds were mainly just an early G-rank thing, but not anymore. They're part of the reward cycle, and I had a friend that actually played this game as their first Monster Hunter game, and he designed quite a few armor sets for me based on various skills I wanted. It's a fantastic part of the game. Speaking of the core reward cycle, the core reward cycle of hunt and fight badass monster, carve it up, make awesome gear out of it, and go out and hunt bigger and more dangerous monsters remains strong and is oh so goddamn very rewarding. It's this core that makes Monster Hunter the most rewarding game series in history. All this gushing aside though, the game isn't perfect. Being the first Monster Hunter game to have paid DLC leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Once you learn the monster's patterns, the scout flies become an annoyance and even detrimental, as if you go faster than they are, they will get confused and force the camera where you're facing the front of your character and away from the monster. Yeah, and in the aim for realism and like gritty realism, the highly creative and colorful weapon and armor designs are very lacking in this game in comparison to older games. Plus, in terms of pure content, 4 Ultimate remains the best in the series. Also, the handler is really fucking annoying. But I'm 100% genuine when I say this is probably the closest thing to a perfect game I have ever played. At least for me. If you have never played a Monster Hunter game before, this is your time to jump in. It is an incredible experience, and it is so much more easy to get into because they just throw you into the combat right away. There's no mushroom collecting missions that teach you how to cook meat and make make potions and things like that. They just send you right into the fray. It's so much easier. I've known so many people who started playing Monster Hunter and gave up before they got to the core of the game because they got bored of the grindy stuff. It has so much little of that in comparison to the other games. It is the best start-off point. I implore you, if you own a system in which this can be played on, buy it, play it. I highly doubt you will regret it. And understand why, for me and many others, this is one of the best games ever made and the best series ever made. Become a fellow Western Monster Hunter fan, and hopefully we'll see more big releases like this in the West. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful 2019. Looking forward to games coming out next year. Let me know your top 5 down below, and I'll see you next time. The Coral Reef section is one of the coolest zones in any game, by the way. It's so different. I'm a motherfucking T-Rex! The official Monster Hunter theme would have been so much better than this music, though. I'm just putting it out there. Oh, that thing is amazing. That thing is annoying. No way. Shut up, you. Go play it.